I can say, I think on behalf of all of us in the community, that since Danny opened just a few short years ago, the community has been tremendously enhanced and benefited. Not only people who have family members with disabilities, but the entire community. It's really a source of tremendous pride that we have such a resource for our community. And thank you, Susie, and thank you, Mrs. Aslow as well, and everyone at Danny for all of your work, wonderful work that you're doing. And Shula Rock, keep rock on. I really like it. So I'm here to offer a short Dvar Torah. We just read about the story of creation in Parshas Bereshis. There's a very interesting midrash that says that when Hashem was planning to create man, there was a dilemma, because there were all these different traits that stood before God and said, either advocating for man's creation or arguing that man should not be created. So the Medrash says, in its inimitable style, the Medrash says, Chesed Omer Yibare, the trait of kindness came before God and said, man should be created, because man always does acts of kindness. And then Emes came before God, truth came before God and said, Al Yibare, Shekulo Shkarim. Don't let man be created. Man is filled with falsehood. But then Tzedek Omer Yibare. But then justice and charity comes before God and said, man should be created. Shehu Oseh Tzedakos, because man dedicates his life to doing acts of kindness and charity. But Shalom Omer Al Yibare Dukulo Ktata. But Shalom, peace, came before God and said, man should not be created, because man is constantly battling and bickering and arguing. So what did God do? It was a struggle of 2 against 2. On the one hand, you've got the traits of kindness and justice and charity that say, create man. You've got truth and peace that say, don't create man. What does God do, says the Medrash? He takes the trait of emes, of truth, and throws it down from the heavens to the earth. And now it's 2 against 1, and therefore God is able to let man be created. Of course, this is a seemingly very simplistic kind of midrashic tale, but it has a very deep meaning. There's a very famous rabbi who was known as the Kutzker, Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kutsk, who used to love this medrash. And there are many times that he would quote it and give it a different explanation as to what it meant. And he said the truth of the matter is that God had to throw truth to the ground and not peace. Because as soon as you dispense with truth, everyone is at peace. The thing that creates a lot of fighting and a lot of discord is because everyone has his or her own version of truth. And if I'm right, then I'm going to fight. And if you're right, you're going to fight. But once we don't care about truth anymore, we care about peace, then everyone can live together. But I think that there's another way of looking at this midrash. When you think about it, there are different parts of our brains and of our hearts that impel us to do certain things in life. A person who's a scholar always strives for truth. A person who's a warrior is fighting for truth. But then there are people who are neither scholars nor warriors. They are lovers. They are people who bestow kindness upon others. And those people who are seeking to help other people are also constantly striving for peace. Because without peace, there can be no acts of kindness, there can be no sense of community. And so what the Midrash is trying to explain is that God recognized that that component of man, which is the drive within every human being to do acts of kindness, to help those that are less fortunate, that either temporarily or permanently need the help of others, the very part of that human psyche that drives us to be kind and to do acts of charity is also the very part of our psyche that strives for peace. So God said, I can dissect the part of man that strives for truth, but I cannot separate peace from acts of charity and kindness. And you want to know something? What's happening here today epitomizes that. We've got so many, Baruch Hashem, so many different Jewish organizations. And sometimes it seems that in our battle and struggle for the truth, sometimes there can be friction between different organizations who are all striving for that very same piece of truth that sometimes seems to be so elusive. But those organizations in our community that are striving to do chesed and tzedakah, striving to do acts of kindness and acts of charity to help those that are less fortunate, it's much easier for those organizations to work bishalom, to work with peace. And that's why you've got this amazing directory today. This directory is really all about the idea that those of us who are striving to help others find it very easy to work together. Because it's not about my organization or your organization. It's about our children. It's about our community. It's about the people that we want to help so that we can make the world a better place. So for all of you who are involved in whatever organization you're working for that are part of this directory, Yishar Kochachem, and let's all continue to work together with peace so that we can continue to do these beautiful acts of chesed and tzedakah. Mazel tov.
People with disabilities are basically in two different types. There are your able disabled and your disabled disabled. Each group, though, has their own special requirements for what they need for the future. This book goes a long way in helping the able disabled find services that they need, and for the other individuals who require more care to be able to find the care that they really need. So this has gone a long way in helping get things done quicker, easier, and with a quality that has not been around before, to which I thank Susie and her committee and everyone here today for your efforts in bringing this to reality. Thank you.